Good morning. Welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It's Monday, February 17th, and I am having one of those mornings. I'm just having one of those mornings. A little coffee might help, but have you ever looked at a task? Have you ever looked at, anything in your life, it doesn't matter what it is, and you go, I don't think that's a good idea. No, that's probably not a good idea. You see the shingle and it's tilted upward, and you're looking at how high up on the roof it is, and you got that big ladder, the one that's been lying on the side of the house with paint on it from, 1978. I'm not calling a guy. I'm not calling a guy over here and paying him $250 to climb a ladder, flip that shingle over, and maybe nail it down, whatever it's going to be. I'm not doing that. I'm 64. I'm not 34. I'm not 44 or 54. So the idea of getting up on the ladder isn't as much ask any other guy that's around my age. This is that you're in that transitional age period where you're kind of looking at it going, of course I can still climb the ladder. It's going to shake a little bit more. I'm going to be a little more unsteady probably going up the ladder, but I can climb the ladder. I can take the hammer out and the nail out. It's if you fall off the ladder. There's the major difference. That by far actually is a little frightening. It's a little frightening to think, can I sustain this fall without totally dislocating my hip or wrenching my knee for good or breaking my leg in 3 spots or all over the $250 I'm trying to save while Squiggy comes over and he nails down the shingle. So those are those moments that I'm talking about. When you're looking at something and you go, this is a bad idea. This is not a good idea. So today, when I do the show, I start usually a couple of days before I start to lightly look at things. I only do 2 shows a week, Monday and Friday now. So I get an idea if there's something that's very topical or breaking in the news. Of course, I want to add that into the show or make that part of the show. More importantly, I'm looking at things that occur in my life. I'm looking at things that I can talk about because they're here now. They're actually happening, or they just recently happened to me, or how it affects me. And then I'm going to tell you my opinion. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. I'm going to tell you, what side of the aisle you're on, what's your religious spectrum, whatever it is, how it pertains to me and why, and try to maybe explain to you why and get some. I have a great subject that I want to talk about, but I have to use my printer. And so I just took this printer, the old one, I had it for years. You got to replace these. They're so cheap now. 69 to $150, depending upon how up the ladder you want to go with its quality and the number of things it can do. I just needed to print out pages of basic stuff and scripts that I have to read and so on, and legal documents. I don't need anything so elaborate. This one has the scanner and it has this and that. It does all kinds of stuff. So as I'm about to get rid of the other one, I looked down and I remembered, those ink cartridges can be quite expensive. So I thought, well, why don't I pull the ink cartridges out of the old machine and save them so that the new machine will have new ink cartridges in it. And when they run out, or I get the alert, hey, how many times you get that? Your ink is low, your ink is low. I'll have these used ink cartridges, which I think I only put in, like a month before or less. And I don't use the scanner that much. So I have the ink cartridges, they're in a bag. This one runs out, finally the new machine, and I go to replace them. And as I look in the bag and I see the ink, like in spots in the bag, I went, don't do this. Don't. Just go use your wife's printer, print out the show there, and don't reach into that bag. Do not reach into the bag of ink. Don't do it. Clothes, things you're going to touch, all the other stuff that's going to happen, all the ancillary stuff that's going to get messed up as a result of touching that ink. So I went in, I did it. I've scrubbed my fingers. I put the ink cartridges in. The machine does not work. I guess the ink cartridges were empty. And I'm so pissed because the second I looked at it, when I initially looked at this project, I said, don't do this, is a bad idea. And I started doing, preventative measures ahead of time, knowing that it was a terrible idea. And it was a terrible idea. I'm so sad that I did it. It didn't print up my show. I have the first page and the rest committed to memory. So social media is a tremendous phenomenon. I think it had an effect on this last election more so than it ever has before. its reach has gotten significant in our culture. But today's show is called Friends versus Followers. And I have to tell you that in the last week, I've had to block people before. I've had to block a lot of people. People take advantage of the whole open forum where they can just say whatever they want. They don't have to say it to your face. If half the people that talked as much SHI about me or about my family had the nerve to say it to my face, I would love to have what a great show that would be. Meet your media, or something in the ring. I mean, people would never say, with the vehemence and the hate and the vile, disgusting verbiage of what they say about my family and me. They would never have the balls to, because in the old days, if you said something about my brother Alec, if you talk some smack about my brother, me and Billy were right on Alec's hip, and we were at your front door. This was Irish Catholic, Long Island, and if you said it, no cop would have come up to you and said, "Did you punch that guy out?" Or, "Yeah, here's what he said about my mother. Here's what." You had it coming, didn't you? Shouldn't have opened your big mouth. Should have, been able to put your money where your mouth was if you're going to talk something about somebody. Should have been able to back it up because you knew they were coming. They weren't going to just let that go. If you touched my sister, I was going to knock you out. I would have knocked you out if you said something about my little sister Jane. I would have. I don't know today, my God, oh my God, the stigma every time he sees a Baldwin movie, he has an epileptic fit and he's this and he's that and blah, 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 blah. So the time has changed dramatically, and I'm finding myself, and I'm not happy about this, I'm changing with it. And let me explain. So what this was over, where this realization came, was over Doge and stuff that's happening with Doge and how they're uncovering all these illegal transactions that have taken place and where all this waste is going, and how that friends of mine, because they're on my friend list on Facebook, let's use Facebook for the sake of this. Now, there are a number of people, I think Facebook allows you 5,000 as the limit, which I never understood. Why wouldn't they want you to have 5 million? What does it matter? But 5,000. And then you can have followers. Let me read this to you. Someone becomes your friend when they demonstrate genuine care, support, and understanding towards you, which includes qualities like trust, loyalty, respect, open communication, and the ability to share both good and bad times without judgment. Essentially, feeling a strong connection and comfort in their presence where you can be yourself. That's a definition of friends, of someone that's your friend. Whether you sit on the far left, on the far right, or any varying degree in between, I don't care about your politics if you're my friend, if I considered you my friend. And in this vacuum of social media, there have been people in the last 72 hours that I've had to block, just block. I don't want to read their stuff anymore. I don't want to hear their stuff anymore, for posts that either I put up and they criticized, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with the criticism of it. What I'm not fine with is the hate that they write. First of all, Facebook it's not my business account. It's not a fan page. It's not for this show. This is my personal Facebook account. And I found myself saying the following phrase: "Wow, that's terrible. I thought this person was my friend. Wow, that's awful. How could somebody who's my friend write that?" If I was to tell you that this is Vito, he's from the old neighborhood, blah, blah, I go, I know Vito, I know his family. We were very good friends in high school. That means me and Vito probably ate together. Me and Vito would walk the hallway together. Me and Vito went to each other's homes or went to functions together. We wrestled on the wrestling team together. There was some commonality. I wouldn't say someone was my friend unless there was an investment of some type. I just am too much of a lone wolf for all that. I have a lot of acquaintances, but I don't have a lot of friends. I have one one friend, and that's my wife, for sure. She's my best friend. After a series of relationships, and I've had other children outside of our marriage before we met, I have never had a friend that defined to me what a friendship is supposed to be. And that's blind faith, blind loyalty. Doesn't matter. We'll figure out any of the details later, but when we go in hot, we go in hard, and we go in heavy. We go in heavy for sure. Like no one's gonna mess with us. And that's my friend. That's my confidant. And it was interesting because this whole episode of friend versus follower is to redefine how I've been pulled in to this this vortex of social media. So I'll give you a specific example. There was a woman who I have been friends with on Facebook friends with, for years. And I started looking at the people that I had to block, and I realized I've never ever physically met any of them. I've never met any of them. So while they were liking a picture of my wife, while they were liking something to do with my wedding, while they were liking a weight loss program I was on, while they were cheering me on and blah, 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 and posting I would get, because we'd be mutual friends and therefore they could post on my thing, and they would say, you know, nice things, complimentary things. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to have someone who says to you, oh wow, he's getting so big now, he's so handsome, he looks so much like his mommy. No offense, DB, you know, funny little sniglets and cutelets and all this crap. And having someone like anything is a nice feeling. And part of the problem with social media, particularly with our teenagers, our young, because they seek that approval. They seek that acceptance and that adoration. And when they don't get it, it can really have a dramatic effect. And when there's cyberbullying going on, or, you know, body shaming and different things amongst their social circles, because that group, that pod is following each other, it can be devastating to them. It really can. So I don't like cyberbullies, but I can take a shot. You know, I watched your movie, it sucked. I saw your documentary, it was awful. What this, what that, but and more importantly, like I said, I get it even more than I probably should. Not that I'm so famous and I'm on TV series anymore, or, you know, I'm doing any big, you know, giant movies. I still work a lot. You know, I still support my family, and I'm very happy in my life with other things entrepreneurially that I do. But when one of my brothers, something happens, holy crap! Particularly Alec, of course, because he's such a big movie star. And when he had a tough year this last year, as a lot of us all know, and he was fully exonerated for things that he was accused of, which were ridiculous. You know, but he was a big name for them to go after. You're going to go after the girl that, you know, that loads the weapons on set? No, you went after Alec because there was the prize. Let's go get the guy that everybody knows, that a lot of people don't like because he sits, you know, so far left in his stance politically. And he has mocked the president, you know, for many, many years on Saturday Night Live, and very well, by the way. He's very funny at it. But he was a target. And off this kind of reverberation thing that has happened, being one of 4 Baldwin brothers, I got so much crap from it. I never really let that bother me before. I've been sad that someone would write that, particularly if it was somebody that I actually knew, that somebody who was my friend. Then don't write anything. You don't have to write, by the way, write in something terrible. You don't have to. You're volunteering that. So if you're my friend, and even if it's in this cloud of social media, whatever the hell it's called, if you're my friend or consider yourself an acquaintance friend through social media, you don't write anything negative about me or my family. You can private message me. You can reach out to me because we follow each other and you have access to me privately. Why would you post that in a public arena? Something negative about my brother. Why would you post something negative about me? Why? Well, when someone writes something, I put up a post about Elon Musk and how much waste there's going to be and how many people in this machine are going to be found to be guilty of absolute thievery. I mean, forget it. It's so apparent, because I use the Starbucks coffee cup thing as my greatest example. That there was supposedly a division. So I posted, something about how we discovered the Starbucks scandal or whatever, and people start commenting on it. Now, granted, I realized that I put it out there. I realized that I put this post out, or somebody else who follows me puts a post out, which is even better. And now you got the far left commenting about, and words come out in these posts and these commentaries that they're mean-spirited. You don't have to use the word idiot. You don't have to use the word stupid. You don't have to insinuate anything about someone's intellectual capacity or their socioeconomic level that they've attained in society, or anything, or a slur, God forbid, religiously, or to do with their ethnicity or their race, or I have no room for any of that. But when I would get a post and I react and say, why would you say that? Why would you post that? This is not a guess. This is a fact. And then I get 3 more posts about something and how they're surprised at how dim-witted this or how blah, 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 blah. Ask the women in your life. I got this one. Why don't you go and ask the women in your life what they think about? I'm like, hang on a second. How does what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing about vaccines have anything to do with why you're asking me to contact the women in my life and check with, and remember, I'm sitting there while this is happening. This is part of how they have us. A bass, a fish, it sits in the reeds, just going like this, looking around, and then it sees the little fish, and it jumps out of the reed, jumps out, and the hook hits that bass, and you got him. I mean, it's sunk. You sunk the hook in the bass. I'm the big mouth bass in the reeds, sitting here, absolutely dumbfounded at things that people have written to me in the last 72 hours. And if I felt like I was hurt. I did. I felt like I'm gonna have to block her. I'm gonna have to block him. I can't have this. Well, I urge you to read this section so you can wake up and you can. I'm sorry? This is my Facebook page where I stay in touch with high school people that I knew, neighborhood people that I knew, a handful of college people that I love, but not a lot of people. I'll go back to what I was saying about my wife, Deasia. She's my only real friend. She's my only real friend. My life is, I have my kids. They're not my friends. They're my kids. I love them. I hope that in years to come we transition into a friendship, father, daughter, but they're not my friends. They're my kids. I'm their father. I have acquaintances. I have lots of acquaintances, but I don't have a lot of friends. TJ and Jill, Chris Bev, there's friends. There's people I'm friendly with who I don't really spend a lot of time with. So why does this bother me so much? Why does this blocking these people and getting them out of my eyesight and their words that are harmful and hateful and counterproductive and they disagree with, I don't know, there's something about this social media thing that over the repetition, maybe it's the repetitions, maybe it's because they've been around for so long, some of them decades. I mean, I have friends on social media that when Facebook came out, I was on it. I had, it was, how do I stay in touch with my nieces? How do I stay in touch with my family and my nephews, neighbors, that kind of thing, where high school guys, how do I find out what Barbara Jean is doing? I could call Barbara Jean. I could say to her, hey, what's going on with you guys? We're going to come down. And she would, of course, as I would say, well, come on down. But the reality of it is that doesn't happen. And social media allows you to kind of, not even talk to anybody, but thumb through and you scroll through and you see, what are they up to? Oh, they got a boat. Oh, that's lovely. They went to the Bahamas. How great. But some of the people that wrote things in the last week, particularly over this political stuff, I have to tell you, I was quite taken aback by it. I felt hurt. I felt hurt and betrayed by people. I had a friend of mine, I'm going to say his name, John Burney. He's a good friend of mine, John. We don't spend the kind of time we did, obviously, when we were kids. We played baseball together in high school. Great guy. Very, very gifted, does a lot of investment stuff, and very savvy in the music scene. He's been a DJ and a host of several shows, and he still gets out there and goes to these live concerts a lot. It's one of the things that him and his group do. So I posted some stuff during the election, some hard stuff about Harris, and I remember I got a message from him going, "Are you kidding me, bro? I'm going to have to unfriend you," or something about unfriending me over something to do that was politics. Now, keep in mind, the Baldwin family, have known the Burney family for me, as long as I could remember, But the point was, I remember I had to, and John got it. So, I'm not talking anything bad about John. I love John and I love the Burney family. But John made this comment, like he was so upset with me over something I said about the election, and he said, "I don't know if I'm gonna have to, unfollow, or we can't be friends on Facebook anymore." I remember I was like, John Burney's not gonna follow me? Like, what are you talking about? So I wrote to him, "You would really unfollow me and unfriend me over something I say politically that has nothing to do with you and me or our love," or whatever I wrote. And then, to John's credit, I think he digested that. He probably got tired of my bashing whoever I bashed, whatever I said. He said, no, don't worry about it, or whatever. So I think he thought better of it. But in that moment, had that one happened, I would have been really upset. So much so that I might have even taken a post down if I thought that it meant John didn't want to be my friend anymore. He was that much of an influence on my life. As a kid, I can, still see playing softball with him and Alan Bickwood and, the boys over at RJL, Louis Orlogio, and yeah, like I couldn't imagine, that happening. But over the stigma of the Trump administration and politics and elections, and also some too a little bit with the Super Bowl, people said things, when I said, yeah, no, Philly's going to beat them. He's not going to get 3 in a row. Mahomes is going down this time. And oh my God, I got stuff from, I guess, people who love this Patrick Mahomes character so much in Kansas City. Really ugly stuff. I get that when it's not. Let me read this one more time. Someone becomes your friend when they demonstrate genuine care, support, understanding towards you. Well, with these people that I've had to block, or I've had to eliminate, or unfollow, unfriend, get rid of them, they've done that. They've supported things that I put up there. If something, I was going through something when I lost my mother, when my kid I was in the hospital because of my back, whatever it is, which includes qualities like trust, loyalty, respect, open communication, and the ability to share both good and bad times without judgment. Well, there lies, so when I reread that, without judgment. Because I say things on this social media site that are pro the administration, when it was vice versa, when Biden won in 2020, we're going to learn more about that in the next year, but Biden became president, I never said anything to a number of my friends that were so pro-Biden. I never wrote, and then attacked Biden and attacked them because they were Biden people, or took decisions about the border and everything. I said things about Biden. I said things about his policies. I said things about Harris. I said things about not really personal things, not so much personal, except for maybe Biden's health. But I attacked and I was aggressive on issues. That is not the case when it comes to Trump. That is not the case when it comes to Trump. it bleeds over into such a level of hatred for the Democrats who say awful things about the people that follow them. I mean, members of my own family. Well, I think it was Alec was at an Italian film festival or something months ago, and said during the election, well, he implied that the people that were voting for Trump were less informed and were not as smart as the Democrats because we didn't agree with certain issues and stances and policies that we collided on. So I thought it was interesting. Let's go ahead and just take a shot at the overall intellectual capacity of an entire group of people, which, by the way, I need to remind people of this. I need to remind them of. And it's very, very suspicious. If you look at the number of people that voted in 2016, and you look at the number of people that voted in 2020, and you look at the number of people that voted in 24, you look in 20 and you see this incredible gap, this incredible number of people that voted for Biden. Where were all those voters in 2024? Where did they go? They didn't vote on either side. The number of voters that showed up were significantly millions of people less that voted for the Democrats or voted, period. And in these battleground states, 7 of them, let's see, it was Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, those 7, which were, any combination of 3 of the big ones. That was the election. That was it. That's where it was happening. Those 7. We knew the outcome in the other ones. We knew what was red, what was blue, what cities. There weren't going to be any big surprises. But the numbers in those 7 states, some of them were down to like a 1 percentage point. It was going to be that close. So he won all 7. He won all 7. So what do you say to that? What do you say to think that she didn't win any of those? Where they invested all that time, those last 3 weeks of the election, they were just bouncing like ping pong balls back and forth between those states to try to shore it all up. She didn't win one, but Biden won, almost all of them. That didn't carry over to her, so she was the wrong candidate. People didn't believe in her. They felt deceived because of Biden. What did they do? I don't know. But something doesn't make a lot of sense about that. Something does not make a lot of sense about that. So the American people have spoken. They elected this man with a majority of the votes overall, and he also won all 7 of those states. So he's the president. Electoral college, overall vote. Well, so this is when, I just had a conversation with my friend Alec. His son's a wrestler. And, Alec and I were both wrestlers, and we, that was part of the bond of our friendship. This guy was a tough, came from the same school as me about wrestling. And now he has a son that's out there competing at a high school level who's a sophomore, Joey. And Joseph he's a good wrestler, but he lost. He lost, and he had to wrestle back in the consolation rounds, which is a tough thing to do, in order to qualify for the next level to get there. And he did it. He came in 3rd, so he wasn't in the finals, but he wrestled his way back into contention. And I said to him, I left a video for them yesterday, and I said, good on you, man. That's what champions are made of. This is what makes a champion. When you look at what Trump did, when you look at his winning 16, losing controversially in 20, and then coming back at his age, going through what he went through and becoming president, that alone deserves a certain level of admiration. I mean, I get tired when I'm acting now. I go out there and I get in my day's work, and they don't care that I'm older. They don't care that I'm not 34 anymore. There's 17 hours in this day that we're going to work. 15 of them are going to be on set. An hour or 2 to get ready for work and to unwind after you get out of work, get a meal in you and go to bed. And it's grueling, sometimes. Am I a soldier? Am I a world-class athlete training for the Olympics that I'm asking for, some kind of a pat on the back here? No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that I'm older and it's harder for me to do. That must have been really hard for him to do that. But he won. He won. So why wouldn't we, as I did in 2020, Try to figure out some common ground rather than listen to this crap, this amazing pounding. It's like carpet bombing in Vietnam, when they just kept flying the planes over and dropping bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. With the blitzkrieg of World War II, this is never ending. Doesn't anyone want to get anything done? Doesn't anyone want to see progress and see something? So my offer out to other people, my olive branch, if you will, to these people that it's bothering me so much on social media that I've had to eliminate them from my social media family, is that, can we agree, let's take an example. Can we agree that if they're spending all this money and it's not going to help the West Indies children program, 28 million, I'm making this up obviously, 28 million to help these children with healthcare, food, farming, some agricultural stuff, some purification of water, blah, blah, blah. Essential stuff. Let's get them, the medical attention that they need. They're human beings. And you find out that 28 million, they received, 2 million worth of vaccinations and some bottled water, and that was it. And the other 26 million, no one really knows where it is. We're not sure what that is. We're talking on this example about $28 million. 28, let me say that again to you, $1 million. And people that I know that I thought were my friends on social media have a problem with a guy who was hired as a gunslinger to come in and figure out not only what happened to the money, where's the money, but who took it, and name them and expose them and eliminate the ability for them to get in that money more. Now, just in that one example alone, $28 million. So we could give $1 million to 28 American veterans. We could give $500,000 to 56 American veterans. We could give $250,000 to 112 American veterans. You get the picture? What about 50 grand to help them start up a business? What about 50 grand just to say thank you for your service? What if we did that? How many people have retired, American veterans, in the last, that couldn't use a pool of money that they could borrow from, like the GI Bill? You know how many, they're talking about $2 trillion in potential waste. They're talking about Medicare and Social Security and monies that are being paid to people that have been dead for 20 years, 30 years. No one's audited it. No one's looked at the 2,112-year-old or up in the US that are still collecting Social Security. They died. They died and no one turned them in as dead. The machine is just continuing to print out the checks, send them to the home, and the family members or somebody are cashing those checks. So we're not just this BS about how big business and big pharma and billionaire friends are going to benefit. That's ridiculous. They're benefiting the companies that are collecting the wasted money that's not going towards the programs that you thought. That's how they're making the money. So we have to shut it down first. The Department of Education, how could you shut down? You're taking away. No. We can't go through it forensically right now and stop the flow of this money. And we cannot afford to do it any longer unless we shut it down for a little bit. So will there be emergency funds available? I'm sure they're going to address that, yes. Can we revamp this system so we refine it? And then look at all that money that would be available. Look at how that could drive your taxes down so that you would be able to say, hey, I want to make a choice what I'm going to do. I don't want the government to tell me what's going to happen with my money. You're going to have more money in your pocket. And we're going to save money on ridiculous things that, now again, on ridiculous things that the money's really not even going to anyway. Now that's my opinion. if you're my Facebook friend, then why don't you just honor my opinion? Because I honor yours. You can tell me that's a friend of mine, Fritz. We went back and forth for a little while. And he, obviously doesn't like Trump and he doesn't like what's happening. And he wrote his critique. And I said, you know what? Let me give this to you. This is what it reminds me of. And this guy was an athlete, a really, really good athlete, really good basketball player. We all used to watch him from the stands and say, wow, look at Fritz. He can really play. So I admired him as an athlete, as a human being, good guy, neighborhood kid from back in Massapequa. And I wrote to him, you know what this reminds me of, bro? This reminds me of when a team that you love, you're a New York Giants fan, and they do an overhaul on the team. They trade the quarterback. They bring in a new coach. He has a new system. He's going to do it differently than you, and that you're used to. He's going to do it differently, and he's going to put some people in the front office on the coaching staff, and he's going to, a new owner of a team, whatever it is, but somebody that has that decision-making power. You may not like the Knicks, getting rid of Patrick Ewing and this guy and that guy and bringing in this new blood, but you're not the coach. And we voted for this guy, and he's the president. So he's picking out the guys. He's picking out his coaching staff. He's the new owner of the team. He's in that position because he got the job. And he's going to make that decision. Now, at the end of the day, if you're really truly a fan of America, if you're really truly a fan of the United States and our country and a patriot, well, this new guy is coaching now. Shouldn't we wait to see rather than, what was it? The 20th of January, I think he went in. So, how much criticism and how much change do you think is going to take place in just over a month? You want to see the team win right now? I do too. I want to see the team win. But if you're not going to back him on anything, if you're going to slow every play down that he does, if you're going to boo him every time he makes a decision, if you're going to try to impair his ability to get things done by blocking him and blocking his team, it's just mind-boggling that I want to see the team play now. I want to see how it's going to turn out. I want to see what happens. He won. He's good. I listened to Keith Olbermann. I used to love to read and listen to Olbermann, and now he's, it's like the same as De Niro. It's kind of like, what happened to that guy? Now I get you can have a different opinion of mine. You can not like Trump. You can not like whatever. You don't like Elon. But it's how low the use of language. This is a journalist who I followed and I admired. That every time I hear, he's got the F word out and he's got, he just bashes other celebrities and other people, political figures, with his laser attacks verbally on people. It's just awful. It's awful to watch how ugly it's gotten. You effing slobby this, blah, 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 with your, and stuff about their intellect and stuff about, why is it like this? Why is it like this? It really discourages me. It discourages me from wanting to be involved in any of it because it's so ugly. It feels like I used to watch The Workers. I remember there was what's the name of that big tanker? There was a big tanker that went down in Alaska. The Exxon Valdez, the Exxon tanker cracked open. And I remember the workers taking the waterfowl, the ducks and different birds, and they had to get all the oil off their feathers, and they were just, caked in this stuff. It was this deep, greasy, ugly, and to protect their feathers and make it so that they could live, they were going to die from exposure to this oil, this sludge that was it. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like this sludgy, flowing pile of crap that's constantly, it's just so mind-boggling how much from my friends. And then it dawned on me, these people aren't my friends. I haven't even met most of these people. Am I friendly with some of them? Have I answered private messages between them or tried to help them with a family member that had an addiction problem? Or have they reached out to me for financial help or advice or a connection? Or, hey, my daughter's an actress. She's in California. I've been following you forever. My name is, Frank. And I don't know if you remember the time I met you at the, again, and I try to help if I can. I do. But these people aren't my friends. They're not. They're followers. And the idea that people that I follow, that I know, that I've met, but that I'm their friends, I'm friendly with them, I've met them, at least met them before, or hung out with them from time to time years back, but really I follow them. Am I Mark Wahlberg's friend? No, I'm not. Talked a few times to him, know Donnie a little bit. Famous family, blah, 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 blah. He's not my friend. Do I follow him on social media to see what he's up to and what he's doing? Yeah. But he's not my friend. And to come to the reality of that big mouth bass that jumps out of the reeds and bites the hook, I was treating this like these people are my friends. Like they are my real friends. The illusion of social media to tell you and the immediate gratification that you get from these followers who follow you, who don't know you from boo, who would turn on you quicker than you would believe, who would write things about you when you write to them. What are you talking? Well, let's see then with your, and I'm thinking, oh my God, a very aggressive language and very aggressive attitude. I had fun with Rosie O'Donnell. And Rosie, I would consider an acquaintance / friend. Does Rosie call me much? Do I hang out with Rosie? Do I do a lot of stuff with Rosie? Do I talk to Rosie? No, I don't. But early in our careers, one of the first movies Rosie ever did, she did with me. We both did stand-up comedy. I was an admirer of her. She's a Long Island, Queens girl. I liked Rosie. I did. Now, when she would write things about what she thought about the president, what she thought, which obviously it's well documented, those two don't get along. I would feel bad when Trump would say things about Rosie, because I think Rosie has a heart, a big heart, a heart of gold, and she means well. Do we have similar lifestyles? No, there's lots of things you could point out that are different about Rosie and I. But at the end of the day, when she would write something and I would respond, I'm like, give it up, Rosie. There's no chance. She's not going to beat him. I would throw stuff out there because I followed her. Her stuff would come up on my feed, and I would comment on it. I never said anything bad about Rosie. I never said one personal thing about her ever, and I never would do that. I wouldn't do that to somebody, and just say, unless they did something awful, and I knew I could prove they did it, and I knew they did it. Then I might put a criticism out there about them. But still, even then, it would be about what they did. It wouldn't be about them as a human being. So I sit here this morning and I look at the number of people that I've had to block. People even some people that I knew all the way back from high school and stuff. Now that the election's over, I haven't, John McGalliard was my manager for many years. And I got John, my brother Stephen is with John. I love John. I love his wife. I love his daughter. He's a really good man, good Christian man. But we were going at it back and forth, and he was talking more smack, how wrong I was about what I was saying about the election, and how I mentioned, I thought for a fact that, every one of those states was going to go to Trump. All these different things I said. He's going to win. He's going to destroy her. And the reasons why. And he would write things about me on open social media, not privately. Like I said, you need to wake up. You need to understand that like I wasn't getting the same information as he was, or that I wasn't believing the same sources that he was. But it got to be hard for me to listen to somebody who I do know, who I did care about, and have him be so aggressive towards me that I didn't want. I could call John right now, and John would answer the phone and make sure I was okay, and vice versa for sure. But it just was hard to be in this public arena with somebody who was my friend. See, it's not just the ones that I know aren't really my friends when I really break it down and think about them. It's even harder with the ones that are when you don't agree on something, or it's difficult for you in my own family life. Probably no one more. I've always had an on again, off again kind of weird friendship with my brother Alec. We went through a nice 5-year where we kind of rebuilt things, and I think that my political stances offend him. I think it has had an effect on my relationship with him for sure. I would never. I mean, he outright just tries to make Trump look like an idiot on Saturday Night Live, and make your living, man. Do your thing. Whatever you got to do. I really don't care. I would never allow that. And I think about when I go to heaven and I see my father, those first couple of months that I'll sit with him and probably seek his approval, probably check in with him about, were you proud? I mean, I think about those things. I think about, when am I going to see my dad again? What will he say? And over this issue, the politics and how we as men handled it, the 4 boys, particularly in this family, I think he's going to be disappointed. I think he's going to be really disappointed, because I think my father would have said, I don't care what, he may not have liked my politics. He may not have liked, what happened to the Democratic Party. I don't know what he's going to say about any of that. But I know he would have said, Stephen's your little brother, and you always look out for your little brother. That's how I taught you. I know he will say, Billy's your younger brother. It's your responsibility, and he's your brother, period. And Billy, I didn't say things to him about what I thought of him as a man, or what I thought about him as, or any disparaging comments about him personally. I can't say the same for him to me over how much he hates Trump. And he has every right to not like Trump, not support Trump, dislike Trump, hate Trump, whatever he wants to. But I don't think it's conducive and positive to hold your political interests. It would be like not liking someone for their music. Well, that guy represents this, and that guy says this. Okay, well, you listen to what you want to listen to. You play in your house and in your car and in your headset what you want to play. You eat what you want to eat. You believe in Jesus Christ, or you believe in Buddha, or you believe in whatever it is. And we'll see at the finish line what happens. But the idea that I'm going to be judged, so much so within my own family, of who I'm going to support, and that's going to affect whether or not we are brothers or close, that's mind-boggling to me. Now that one's way different, because that is somebody who I love, that is somebody who's my friend, that is somebody who I have a relationship with, many, 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 many years when it's your family. So yeah, that bothers me. I think my father will be very disappointed that the boys in this family have allowed their political views to be so dramatically affecting on their personal relationships as brothers. But so I started here, and I ended up all the way over here on, and I don't give a shit what you say. I don't care what you think. I have my life that I live that's a godly life. God, Jesus Christ, is number one in my life. Number one. My relationship with my wife is number two, only behind God. That's it. What she thinks, what she hears, And we don't agree on everything politically. We don't agree on everything at all. We are really good communicators. And we get it out there and we figure it out. Doesn't always come out smooth. It's not perfect. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to write stuff on my page, I'm going to block you. If you're going to write things that are that don't jive with, you can have an opinion. You can say things that you want to. Do it tastefully. Do not write anything derogatory about someone else personally when you're talking about an issue or a politician. You're not my friends. The illusion that social media has created to allow you to believe that you are actually in a relationship with these people because they support your career or they support your marriage or they support your pictures or they think you're handsome or they think that you're funny or that it's all an illusion. It's not real. You don't know anything about these people. They don't really know anything about you because you post only the best things about yourself. And it's not real. It's not reality. So I'm not deleting people that are my friends. I'm deleting people that are followers or that I was following or we're mutually following each other. And I'm no longer interested in what it is that they're spewing, that I want to follow it or listen to it anymore. Social media is an illusion. It's created to get you to jump out of the reeds and bite that hook and sink the hook in so they can captivate you. It's like going to the awards ceremony. That's what it's like. When you go to an awards ceremony, let's say it's a film festival, let's say it's the Oscars, all these other people go, you already did the work. You already filmed the film. You already made the statement. It's hit the screens. People are watching it. Critics are loving it. Audiences are flocking to the theater. Now I have to go to a show, get all dressed up, sit down, and see which one of us gets a trophy to tell us that it was the best one that year. I don't need anyone to tell me that I know if I did good work. I can look at it and say, wow, I'm really proud of it. I can go, oh, God, I needed that paycheck really bad. My kid's going into their next semester of college and I got to pay for it. I don't need you to like it. I don't need you to like what I said. I don't need you to like the show. I want it to stimulate some thought in your head. I want you to think about what I'm saying right now. I want you to think about our country. I want you to think about Medicaid. I want you to think about wasting trillions of dollars. And that while we're focusing on this guy who's working for the president to try to take your and my money and put it back in the vault, and you're attacking this guy for doing it. There was a great post that I saw that said, so Elon comes into your store and puts video cameras in and sees that the employee is stealing the money. And again, turns around and goes, I don't know if you know this, but I planted this camera in the store. I'm an efficiency expert, blah, blah. Here's what's going on shift 1 and shift 3. They're robbing you blind. They're fake at the register and they're sticking the money in their pocket. And now you're mad at him. You're mad at him for exposing to you why you're getting ripped off and who's ripping you off. What the hell is going on? Why doesn't America want to know that? What would be, give me any reason why you don't want to know that? Right, exactly. There is no reason why you wouldn't want to know that. There really is no reason why you don't, unless you somehow benefit from it. Unless you've been pulled into the vortex of believing that you're a friend of the Republican Party, or you're a friend of the Democratic Party, or Joe Biden is your friend, or Kamala Harris, or Donald Trump, or Elon Musk, or any of it. Any of it. Man, we got to wake up. We got to wake up. This whole thing's going to crash and burn soon. If we don't do this audit, if we don't figure this out, the value of the American dollar will collapse worldwide soon enough. We can't just keep printing money. We can't. We don't back it with gold anymore. It's worthless. It's worthless. We have to do this work. We have to expose these people. We have to crack this system. This is a scam that people have figured out ways to go through the government to make just such excessive amounts of money, you just won't believe it. And when we start to see what's happening in Medicaid and where the money's really going and who it is, it's the same people that are making hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. If we could get 10% of it back, we could buy a small house for every American veteran and say, hey, you know what? Thank you. We're going to take care of you for the rest of your life now for what you did for us. We're going to. We're absolutely going to be able to take care of you. And all our elderly and all the children that have these problems, all these programs that you think are being eliminated because they want to line the pockets of billionaires. No, that's not true. It's some of these really, really wealthy people and billionaires that are pocketing money due to these programs and illegally attaining it. And we're going to expose them too. We're not going to just go through a list of people that are doing this crap and say, oh, he's a friend of Don's, so we're not going to. Everyone's going to get it. Everyone's going to get it, I promise. I promise. You really believe that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to take away vaccinations and make your children unsafe? Is that what he ever said? Is that what he ever said? No, he did not say that. He said, I want to do a thorough breakdown of what's in these vaccinations. I want to bring it together so they're all the same, not X amount of lead in one and X amount of mercury and X amount of chrome and silver and all these heavy metals that create all these other problems for little babies when they get older. No, let's break them down, really hire a neutral, not FDA. The FDA is like going to Reuters. They're paid, Politico, paid, exposed. Government agents, paid with your tax dollars. Not only are they feeding you the wrong information, not only are they lying to you, they're getting paid by you and me. They're getting paid by you and me. Our tax dollars are being donated through other programs to these news agencies. I'll go back and tell you this one more time. I'm going to get off it. My own child's pediatrician telling me, well, no, that's been debunked now. That shot caused. Who debunked what? Who debunked what? The study was paid for by Pfizer, and I'm making this up, so that you would believe, because Pfizer makes money on that shot. So who paid for the study that you're quoting? Wake up. We're going to expose this now. We can clean the slate. When you're going to redo your yard, you bring a bulldozer in and knock everything down, unless there's a few things you want to keep, and clean it up, replant it, redesign it, redo it, add a deck. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're going to knock it down to the ground because it's broken. It doesn't work. And people are lying and scamming our money. That's what we're going to do. This is our last chance to really, really get this done. I think if it goes much further, it just crumbles. This will be like the Roman Empire. It can't sustain itself anymore. You are not my friend unless I know you. We could become friends. We could become acquaintances. We follow each other. We follow each other, hopefully on a journey that there's like-mindedness that we want to get to, or it's not like-minded, and we follow each other because we want to stay topical on what it is that you're up to and what you're doing. There's a lot of people that follow me that don't like me. They don't like me. That's okay. That's okay. Here's my words. Here's my thoughts. Here's my videos. Here's my show. Here's what I do as a father, what I do as a Christian man, what I do as a pastor, what I do. Have at it, man. Follow it all. Do whatever you want to do. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're not my friend. You're not my friend. And I had to come to terms with that. I was so taken aback by people who I thought were my friends. You're not my friend. You're a follower. I follow you sometimes. You follow me. My friends, they know who they are. So my ego and my heart are out of this now. I'm going to do this show and I'm going to report to you things that are real, that are happening around the world right now. I'm going to try to stay unbiased, although I do support the president. I supported Joe Biden. I didn't vote for him, but I supported him. I want the country to be successful. There lies the difference between the two systems right now. All I hear about is hate, and sabotage, and we're going to get. That's not how this was supposed to go. America's spoken already. This guy's the president. What can you do to make it better? You're blocking his efforts to do things that he's trying to get things done. He's the president. This is what the vast majority of the people voted for and put into office and want to engage with. You're not helping anybody. You're not. You're just stymieing and tying one hand behind their backs to get less accomplished in the 4 years that he has, to try to do the things that he was voted for to do. But I want to make it really clear about something. I want to make this statement really clear. You're not my friends. You're my followers. Hopefully we can respectfully follow each other, and we can get things accomplished, and we can help, and we can do things to help other people. You will be judged at the end of your life by one thing. You won't take any of it with you. You will not. Your legacy will be determined by one thing only: how you served, how you helped others. That is the one thing that matters most in life. One. When I do this show, when I do almost anything, it's to be of service. It's to be helpful. It's to, from the most mundane, opening the door, helping someone, I'll walk in a grocery store and I'll come out, I'll turn around and I'll walk out to a car and help someone with their bags, an older woman. Mentioning to someone how lovely they look that day, right on down to showing up at an event and giving of my time to raise money for kids. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm not here to pat myself on the back either, by the way. I'm here to remind you of something that is very, very, very important. You will be judged, and the effectiveness and importance of your life will be determined by how you were of service to help other human beings. Period. That's your wife, your kids, your colleagues, your neighbors, your friends, your social media followers, all of it. How can I help you? What can I do to enhance or enrich your life and give of myself so that I may better someone else? That's it. That's the key. So if you're not about making it better, then move on, man. Don't follow me anymore. If you don't have a positive message, if you believe something isn't true, if you believe something isn't your cup of tea about apology, you can write that, but you can write it try to write it so that A, you let people know what it is you're objecting to. Try to write it with a solution or a difference, something you would do differently. Like, think it through. Think it through so that might be of service to someone else. That might be helpful to someone to take in your knowledge and take in your understanding of an event for the outcome to become a positive. But if you're just going to be hateful, if you're just going to be attacking, if you're not about anything to do with something that's positive, then what are you about? You're not being of service. Be of service. Love each other. Contribute. Serve God. So I'm at the end of the show, and I'm going to end the show in the way that I do every day that I do the show, in prayer. So if you're not someone who likes to pray, then it's time to turn the show off, and I'll see you on Friday. And if you are someone that likes to pray, well, here we go. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much, God, for the guidance that you give us and the abundance that we live in under your light. And God, I ask you, please try to heal anyone that is upset over what's going on in our government here in the country right now. And please try to help them be of service to you, Lord, and help others. If we could just take our efforts and focus them towards the commonality of man and focus them towards the light of Jesus Christ, then I believe that the world will be a better place, even if we don't always agree on what the best place to eat is or what policy is best. How can I be of service, Lord? Please put that on the hearts of all Americans right now, God, and keep them healthy and keep them positive so that we can make this country great again. In your name we pray. Amen. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. What are you going to do today to help somebody else? Get out of yourself. Serve the Lord.